Hi, welcome to Grammar Videos. Here is the continuation of active and passive voice. In the previous video, you learned how to change the active sentences into passive voice for simple present, present continuous and present perfect tense active voice sentences to passive voice. Now, in this video, you will learn about how to change the active sentences to passive for the past tense and future tense. Now, let's move on to simple past. Here, the general structure of the passive voice for simple past, the object of active voice, then was for singular, were for plural, and then past participle verb 3 of main verb, and then the subject of the active voice. Now let us begin with examples. I ate an apple. I subject ate, past tense an apple. Here an apple is a object. First we have to write an apple is a singular, so we have to use was, then change this ate into verb 3 eaten, then I becomes by me. See the sentence. An apple was eaten by me. Next, you played wrestling. Wrestling is also singular, so we have to use was, then played remains, played verb 3, then you become by you. Wrestling was played by you. Then he told me the truth. Now the object truth first, then it is a singular, so we have to use was, then told becomes verb 3, then he should be as a object. The truth was told me by him. Next, she wrote a poem. A poem is also a singular, so we have to use was. Write the poem in the subject place, then was, then change this wrote into verb 3 written, then she becomes object by her. A poem was written by her. Then next sentence, they distributed health kits. Health kits becomes object, it is a plural, then we have to use were in the place of was. For plural we have to use were in the past simple or past, all the past sentences. Health kits were distributed by them. The they in the subject, to change to object we have to use them. Sheila supported Sham. Here is also it is the past tense. Now we have to use Sham was supported by Sheila. Now for past continuous, we have to use the same structure. First, we have to write down the object of the active voice. For singular object was, for plural object were. For continuous ing form verb, we have to use the word being, then change that past sentence into past participle, then write the subject. Now see the sentence. I am not taking the lunch. The lunch becomes subject. Then it is the past tense was is there, we have to use was, then I becomes the object. The lunch was not being taken by me. Here ing we are using as being in front of the helping verb. You are making big mistake. Big mistake is a subject for the passive voice, then were is a plural, for mistake is a singular, here you have to use was, then ing we are using being, make changes to made, then by you. Big mistake was being made by you. He was giving a lecture. Now write down a lecture is a singular, we have to use was, then for ing we are using Being, give becomes given, then he becomes by him. A lecture was being given by him. She was painting the pictures. The pictures becomes subject. It is a plural, we have to use were. Then for ing we are using being. Then she becomes by her. The pictures were being painted by her. They were playing indoor games. Indoor games is an object, it becomes subject for passive. It is a plural, we have to use were. Then for ing we have to use being. Then play becomes played. Indoor games were being played by them. Next sentence, Maya was cooking meals. Meals was being cooked by Maya. This is past continuous. Now past perfect. Here there is no singular or plural. For both singular and plural we are using had. See, I had watched many movies. Many movies had been watched by me. For after this have or has or had, we have to use been as a special word. You had prepared dinner. Write down the dinner as a subject. Then for had we have to use the been. Then prepared is a third form, we form. Then by you becomes object. Dinner had been prepared by you. She had received awards. Awards had been received by her. Awards is a plural, but past perfect there is no plural. For both singular and plural we are using had. He had done many adventures. Many adventures had been done by him. They had built the house. The house had been built by them. Sahana had eaten 10 mangoes. 10 mangoes had been eaten by Sahana. This is past perfect tense. Now let's move on to the next. It is simple future. Here the structure remains. Object we have to write down first. Then will, shall, can, may, might, any future representative auxiliary verbs. We have to use be after that auxiliary. Then we have to change that verb into verb 3. Then write the subject. The structure remains same. I shall write a letter. Here a letter becomes object. Then you have to write shall. After the shall we have to use the be word. See, this be we have to use for every auxiliary verb. Then I becomes by me. A letter shall be written by me. Next, we will do homework. Now write the homework as a subject. Will remain same. We have to add be next to the will. Then we becomes us. Homework will be done by us. Here the verbs should be changed to past participle verb 3. You can make a tea. A tea can be made by you. Made is a third form of the past participle form of make. He may play football. Football may be played by him. Played is a verb 3 for play. She would prepare dinner. Dinner would be prepared by her. Prepared is a past participle form of prepare. Ramesh will finish the work. The work will be finished by Ramesh. This is simple future. Then future perfect. Future perfect is nothing but here the active voice has a subject, modal infinitive, then have, then past participle and subject. For passive voice the general structure is like this. First we have to write down object, then modal infinitive like will, shall or would, anything, then have, then we have to use been after the have, has or had, then verb changes to participle, then we have to write subject. Here is I will have finished the project. The project becomes objective, then we have to write will. Have, for have we have to use been. ವಿಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಹ್ಯಾವನ್ನು ಬರೆದು ಅದರ ಮುಂದೆ ಬೀನ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪದವನ್ನು ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಫಿನಿಶ್ಡ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ವರ್ಬ್ 3 ಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಫಿನಿಶ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬರ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಐ ಅನ್ನು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಬೈ ಮೀ ಅಂತ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸಿ ದ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಫಿನಿಶ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಮೀ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಓನ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕು, ದೆನ್ ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬರೆದು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ನ ನಂತರ ಬೀನನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಓನ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ವರ್ಬ್ 3 ಹಾಗೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬೈ ಯು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟನ್ನು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಓನ್ ಬೈ ಯು. ವಿ ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ದಿ ರೂಪ್. ದೆನ್ ದ ರೂಪ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟನ್ನು ಮೊದಲು ಬರೀರಿ, ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹಾಗೆ ಬರೆದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೀನನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿ. ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪಲ್ ವರ್ಬ್ 3 ಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ವಿ ಅನ್ನು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಬೈ ಅಸ್ ಅಂತ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ದ ರೂಪ್ ವುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಅಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ಡ್ ದ ವಿಂಡೋ. ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ವಿಂಡೋ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬರೆದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೀನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಬೇಕು. ದೆನ್ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಬ್ 3 ಹಾಗೆ ಬರೀರಿ. ದೇ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ದೆಮ್. ದ ವಿಂಡೋ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದೆಮ್. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಿ. ರಾಹುಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕುಕ್ಡ್ ದಿ ಡಿನ್ನರ್. ದ ಡಿನ್ನರ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಗೆ. ದೆನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಬರೆದು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ಗೆ ಬೀನನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿ ರಾಹುಲ್ ಬೈ ರಾಹುಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿ ದ ಡಿನ್ನರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಕುಕ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ರಾಹುಲ್. ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಸ್. I hope you understood the active and passives, how to change active voice sentences into passive voice. Watch this video part 1 and part 2 1 or 2 times for your better understanding. Thank you for watching this video.